So I just have a mixture of various things from different times. Oh, I like this poem of Wordcraft. The words are dozing, resting from work at the nuance factory after a lifetime of time and a half. Outside, the flocks of poets lurk, nets in hand, ready to flick wrists and capture the brightest, the starkest, the most subtle, to compose poems with them if life doesn't intervene. If it does, there are always butterflies and flotillas of clouds passing by. What to say, what to do. Tell me why you couldn't be... the last word is the god Saturn. You know, the god Saturn was a god of war and, tell me why you couldn't become a gnat blown through spring's tree by gust or breeze, to buzz on your way with the elements, to annoy us, feed, or simply be the elements. Why have you chosen to take on the ocean, infinitely filling the boat we are in, before it cracks at a seam and fills to its limits and we're drowning? I've disappeared in the vastness of air or the depths of endless murk and can't get out or get back. Could I have helped, I who was born to speak? Or do I too say too little or too much, wish for nothing or the start of creation? Or am I simply an animal feeding, greedily swallowing everything, the god Saturn, who ate his children? Roman general, men make history with their demons. It was so beautiful, I ordered the ground salted after the houses were burned and the women taken as slaves. How could I live with the image of what was there when we found it? Return to the capital, crowded and filthy Rome. I'd be left with a longing for that beauty, not to be held, not to be had. Split between continents, I'd never survive, longing to hold what was only memory. Restless, unhappy, I couldn't be for all the pheasants and oysters offered. That's why, triumphant, I destroyed it, commanding my scribes to record it, so that all could see how it was. Nothing to grow there for ages. My boot and my flag had been planted. There's a new poem was published in something Lost Lit UK, Stolen. In the jail of my shoes I began the long trek home. Rutted road with old rain, back bent with time, hauling what had been fashioned with genius, a shirt with its logo, striped colors concealing, chains linking the oceans. What was I doing that morning, plodding on in illusion, bound for the stolen house, a house no longer there? I tried to awaken the dead and couldn't, and called myself a failure, which was safe closure. It was easy to retreat to the kitchen, feed pleasure seekers dishes with exotic spices. It was easy to cower in a corner, construct mental worlds that never were. I tried to forget. I didn't ask why I didn't try again. Make the corpses walk straight, see the light. Was I attempting too much? Because I had been deluded? I didn't want to embrace them, just to let them be what they never were. Squelched, squashed, damaged, pathetic, stunted, and dead of their rage. What to answer? I never got over Spectacular Wednesday, the one following Trauma 6 and Tuesday's War. I gave in and stopped counting in a maze of pseudo-eternity. I savored my pastry, watched the screen flash yesterday's history, mechanical drumming beating the day. What's the matter, a few seemed to ask, their eyes sensing something I didn't. What could I answer, guessing they'd hear what I couldn't say? The Step, well, here's a couple of new ones. The Step for Malcolm McNeil, my neighbor. Where it never was, a hollow or hole, crack or split, I'll never know. But that you filled it, poured in cement and built it, where I'll enter and honor you next visit. A step. I never saw the void that irked you so. I never missed it on the way to your museum of an anteroom in your house. Snakeskin and drawings filling the walls, the bow window looking out on a field with deer, turkeys, and even a bear appear unexpectedly as you sit at your desk and stare or smile. Fatigue of work deferred a moment, the wheel ever turning, labor overtaking thought, inertia losing. Thank you. Another Dog Day. I have a book to the dogs, but this came after it. This is a recent poem. Another Dog Day, July 13th. Her tongue extending to the last carton hollow, where eggs cracked, their yolks spilling out when the bag overturned at the traffic light. This breakfast I discovered the damage, called her from her slumber, and coaxed her to lick the carton, pointing to the little yellow pools. She hesitated, then found what I meant, curled her long tongue to every crevice where the shells had smashed and food lay. I kneeled to watch her tongue do what mine couldn't, lengthening, curling to contain, ingest the surprise nourishment. I stayed down, watched in awe, till all was gone. I sang praise then, and my troubles faded. I think I want, okay. Yes, can I do two about Mexico, please?
Sure.
The first one was written about Tuxtla Gutierrez, which is the capital of Chiapas, where the earthquake just hit, which I just learned about, a terrible earthquake. And most of the devastation was there or in Oaxaca. Not was that?
It was an 8 on the rate.
8 point something. That's tremendous. Tremendous. Non-commercial, Tuxtla Gutierrez, I saw this. Well, all she did was pass the handkerchief on. So why charge more than the food it takes to stay alive an hour? She didn't even think it was part of her being. Not a businesswoman, she would fail in the eyes of that class of people, organizers of days, the hard drivers. As she leaned over to kiss her youngest, a fat tot with a dirty face, and laugh words that were incomprehensible to me, she was a Tzotzil Indian, her eyes radiated like suns. The four of them on the ground where she sold the various cloths she wove or bought were shining worlds around her. I circled the block 3 times to take their light in. And finally, this poem is to practically everyone I know in Mexico is dead. I have my whole cemetery because I was there when I was very young. These people, however, were much younger than me, and they are also gone. Estelita y Estebanito. Sauce spilled on the photograph. Estelita before First Communion. Beside Esteban, 2 cherubs in formal dress for the occasion, arms hooked round each other, his head tilted shyly to the left. And their smiles, sister and brother together, I who should have preceded them to the great darkness, but didn't. I who drive around, a spoiled American. And now it is almost lost, that picture preserved by a niece. She never knew them as children. I did, so she gave it to me. Careless, I placed it near food, and sauce spilled, marring the girl's lips. Details I will not recall. Where was I going, lost in nothing? Why do I live past my time? How did they reach their last hour? And should I restore the picture if their image is in me forever with these words to tell sweetness, bearing witness?